You bet.
Let's look more specifically at this FCC plan and what's involved. Ben Shapiro is a KTTH radio host and editor-in-chief of the media watchdog group truthrevolt.org. And Mark Hanna is an adjunct professor of media studies at the New School and served as a campaign aide for President Obama's 2008 White House run. Good to see you, gentlemen. Now, they're already saying that they're going to reevaluate this policy in light of this one FCC commissioner coming out and speaking so publicly about it and now some of the backlash, but not abandon it. And apparently the first test is supposed to happen in Columbia, South Carolina this spring. Among the other things they wanted to talk about, Ben, was a station's perceived bias, the process by which stories are selected. Newsroom policing is how the FCC commissioner described it. And the question I have for you is what on earth would make the administration think it could get away with this?
Well, why not? The administration has gotten away with everything else. I mean, whether it is the targeting of Fox News' James Rosen or the targeting of the AP, the entire Associated Press wrote a letter to the administration back in November saying, you know, it'd be really nice if you'd allow us to take photos and events at the White House as opposed to just handing out your propaganda photos. The truth is that this administration has been harder on the press than any administration in recent memory, and the press itself knows that. It's just that the press itself is so addicted to Barack Obama and his agenda that they're basically willing to cover for violations of press freedom that occur on a daily basis from this administration. This is an administration, Megan, that has really gone out of its way to give special benefits to reporters that it likes and punish reporters that it doesn't. It's gone out of its way to rip on Fox News while praising other outlets. It's gone out of its way to benefit certain people at the expense of others. So if you are one of the beneficiaries, why would you object to a growing government presence in the media?
Mark?
Look, this country has had a long legacy of an oppositional, adversarial press that's been commercial and free of government interference. That is what distinguishes our media system from nearly every other country in the world. So if there were any trace whatsoever that the government was trying to interfere with press coverage, I would be the first one to sound the alarm. We've got to be very careful here, though, in reporting what this is about. I think the other guest, Ben, is being a little bit sensitive. What this is a study, an academic study where media organizations are free to participate if they want. They're free to not participate if they don't want. And it's about the critical information
I'm going to let you finish your point, but just for
American
context.
people.
Hold on. I'm going to let you finish. But on the voluntariness point, which is a legitimate point if true, what journalists have already objected to, saying if it's the licensing organization that you have to respond to who's saying, oh, trust me, it's up to you whether you want to participate, there is an inequity in the power there that may make some media organizations feel as though they need to say yes. But I'll let you finish your point.
Megan, I think Fox News has quite a bit of power. I think MSNBC has power. I think media organizations aren't wanting for power when it comes to the government. They keep the presidential power in check. That's their role. That's your role, and you do it every night. The thing here is that this is in the interest of the American people. What this study is why this is being done is because of the 1996 Telecommunications Act, which required the White House to figure out what the critical information needs of the American people are. For example, if there's a natural disaster, Hurricane Sandy comes again, do people have the information they need to evacuate their homes? Do people have information they need about vaccines and things like that?
TV doesn't exist just to have debates like this. We also are supposed to be providing a service, which is emergency notifications and meaningful news information that people can use. Understood. But this FCC commissioner, Ben, seems to be coming out and saying, yes, that's one of the things. But amazingly, they've done it without sticking their nose into newsrooms in this way since 1996. And what he says is that this group that they hired to do it, Social Solutions International, Inc., a research and evaluation firm dedicated to the creation of social and health solutions to improve the welfare of undeserved populations worldwide. They're founded on the values of diversity, social responsibility, and quality, grounded in the concept of positive change, and they're the ones who are going to start asking about whether a station is biased and its perceived responsiveness to certain stories and populations, and the process by which stories are selected, and the internal debate that goes into story selection.
It's ridiculous. And as to the voluntariness point, the fact is this. Kathleen Sebelius, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, she made exactly the same argument when she was trying to fundraise for Obamacare from a bunch of health nonprofits. But the point is that the government is not allowed to do that because the government is in a power relationship with the very people that it's seeking to regulate. So leveraging in a study, the fact is the only reason to do a study like this is because you're trying to gather facts. What's the purpose of gathering facts? To identify a problem. Once you've identified the problem, then of course the corrective is some sort of government action, because as it turns out, the informational needs of the American people aren't met by covering Benghazi, they're more met by covering Justin Bieber.
Go ahead, Mark. I'll give you the last word.
I would be shocked if that was the conclusion of this FCC report, is that the government needs to get out there about Justin Bieber. No, the government has an obligation to the American people. They're not saying the media has an obligation to the American people. They're saying they have an obligation to get information out. If people aren't getting information from the media, they need to find another way to get that information out. And so that's what this report's doing. Nobody's trying to get, your pal Sean Hannity to stop disparaging the president. Nobody's trying. There's no conspiracy that nobody's trying to get MSNBC to stop criticizing Republicans. This isn't about setting the agenda of media companies, and anybody who says otherwise, again, is being very sensitive.
Well, the Radio and Television Correspondents Association, you can count them among the groups, because they said, look, like many bad ideas, this one started out with good intentions, but they talked about how this will have a chilling effect, and the government has no business second-guessing our decisions and working to influence our coverage. Gentlemen, good to see you both.
Thank you, Megan.
Also tonight.